Today's lesson is on how to draw a castle. Now you'll notice this castle is quite different. It has logs and trees around it and it's on fire. Because in our island story, chapter 10, that's what they had to do to get the king out of the very strong castle. They burned him out. So gather your paper and your pencil and your crayons or colored pencils and meet me back here so we can draw the story. I'll wait for you. So let's begin by looking at our drawings. Here is the castle with some color. Here is the castle just drawn with a pencil. So with my supply, find the middle of your paper, put a dot there so you know where the middle is, and go up maybe just a little, half of a finger, and let's make a rectangle. That is this right here, the rectangle. Now let's make the longer rectangle above that and get it inside because it sits on top of this. Now you have your two columns on the side, which are rectangles. So I'm going to go up, and I'm not going to go as high as this. Over, draw your rectangle. Same way on the other side. That looks kind of skinny. Let me put it bigger. That's why we sketch. And this is why we have an eraser. There. Okay, now I'm going to use my dark crayon, marker, whatever you're going to be using to make it look darker. And I'll use a black colored pencil. And I'm going to trace over my drawing. Because those were just sketches, so I could get the placement of my rectangle. Now it's darker, you can see. And I will just continue. Now at the top of this one, I want to trace over my drawing. Because those were just sketches, so I could get the placement of my rectangle. Now it's darker, you can see. And I will just continue. Now at the top of this one, I want to teach you the first perspective. You're going to oval it up. See how I curved that up and over? Because you're looking at it, you're not looking down at it or forward, you're looking kind of forward at it, I'm sorry. And it will perceive to be up. Same way on the top of these. We're going to be angling them up. And then I'm only going to come down maybe a half a finger, and I'm going to curve in just a little bit. And then curve it down. And I'm going over. See, I didn't match that. And over here, I'm going to go over, up here. Okay? Same way on the other side. Now I'm going to come over, and I can see that it's not exactly parallel. So I'm going to come down a little way. And then I'm going to come down. I'm going to make that, fill in that space. There. Now I have to do the same on the top of this tower. I'm going to curve in a little way, in a little way. I'm going to go down and then down. Now I'm going to have to erase this marker right here. I did that to show you the shapes. I wanted you to see the shapes. But when you draw, find the shape to get it started. Now see, I'm just lining it up. There, now there's my basic castle. Oh, I forgot there we go. And let's do the same over here. I'm going to curve up and over. Now let's make the prongs at the top of the castle. And I'm going to come over a little way and I'm going to go down, down, and down. So I made 3 of them. And then I'm going to go in on the second one and in on the 4th one. And then I'm going to erase, and this makes the prong. It looks like on the castle. Same way over here. Let's go down, 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 down. I'm making 4 on this side because I don't like this. And I'm going to go in and in. And then I'll erase that. That looks better than I have. And I'm going to change this, boys and girls. I can come back and change this because I am drawing this. This is the fun. That's why you can't make mistakes in drawing. I made 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I went in on this one and in on this one. And then I will erase. There. That looks a lot better. Okay, now let's make the door on the castle. And I'm coming down the middle, and right here is my middle door. And then I'm going to curve up and over. This is my door. You can put the knobs on it, the door knobs. And now let's make some windows. I'm going to go up above my dot and I'm going to go over, up, and around. Over, up, and around. They're like oval shapes at the top of them, or curve. And those are the windows. Okay, now we can do our, I forgot to do this one. So let's go over, and I'm gonna make 4 of them. Remember my mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4. In on the second one, in on the second one. And I will erase the top of those. There, that looks a little bit. Okay, now let's make some windows in this top one. I go over and over, and then you go up and around, up and around, and over, up and around, up and around. Okay, now this is our castle. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to curve out and out. This will give it depth when I draw. Now let's draw the logs that the Britons laid around the castle. So logs are round. So I'm going to just start, I'm going to put one right here as the end of it. And I made a little curlicue inside. And then I'm going to go out and out. I'm going to curve it. That's a log. And of course, I didn't have all the fancy equipment to make things perfect. And I made another one in here. Now I'm going to erase that part. And we're going to just make some twigs and some logs around it. Let's make one down here and it goes out and then curves out to meet it. Because remember, boys and girls, they did not have all the power tools to make things perfect. Now, that's not our goal. Our goal is to just show of how they built or logged up sticks and logs around the castle. Now what am I doing here? I am making leaves because things just weren't perfect. So here's how I make a leaf. I made a little twig. I curve out and pull in, curve out and pull in. And that's a little leaf, and there's the vein in the middle. And then you will go over here. We're going to make another one, and we're going to show that they are stacked, because that's what they did. They built up the logs and the tree branches around the castle. So we'll come over here and we can build more logs. I'm going to just make a little skinny twig off of that. Put a leaf off of that. Let's make some logs here. There, they were leaning it up against the castle. And they may have had another one underneath it. And these were just stacked. There was nothing perfect about the way the logs looked or anything. Now let's build some fire, because they set fire to the castle. So to build the fire, I'm going to come behind this. I'm going to curve up and make like a little curly, and then come back down with it like that. These look like flames. And you can go inside of it and make another curve down, up and back. Now let's come over here in front of this log. And I'm going to make a line around across like that. And then I'm just going to make little jagged lines. It looks like the flames. And it'll look different when you add color to it. So here's what it looks like with the flames added. As you can see, I colored in the logs, and then here's my flames. And you can make this as busy as you want or not as busy. It's up to you. And what I did was I took my brown to show that these logs are laying behind, and I made them a little bit darker to show that it's behind. So you'll shade that in behind it. And then notice how I'm going circle to kind of blend it in with the lighter color, so you don't have the contrast of dark and light so sharply. This one looks like it's behind. I'm going to do the same. Then this one will just shade in beside it. Now I wanted to show you how we can do the shading. The darker is behind, and then you'll do little circles to pull out the light. This flame is in front of this log, and that's what we'll do. Now take your black and let's go up to the castle. I turned my pencil sideways and I went beside that line that I drew down to make it look like these two rectangles are coming out. If you have to turn your paper to get the other side, see, that makes it look like it's farther back. Same way up here, I'm going to shade the sides. Probably on all of them, I will shade the sides. I'm going to go much lighter here. And I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going lighter on the sides here. Because I want to create the illusion of front and back. Now look at my windows. I did the same thing. I went down, I went around it. And if you have to turn your paper, boys and girls, that's what we do, and we shade around it like this. Because they are dark. They probably didn't have the lights in their windows like we do. Probably, I know they did not. They didn't have electricity. And you are going to continue working with your castle to give it depth. Another thing we can do with our castle is we can just shade down like this. And I did the exact same shading on my door. Now I took my blue and this is how I shaded behind it. I went really dark, close to the castle. And that makes it look like it's farther behind. Go in between your tops of the castle, the prongs, I guess. I don't know what that's called. And then I'm going to pull it out. And I'm going to lay my pencil flat and smooth that out. And you can go as far as you want with your sky. That's totally up to you. See how faint it is here? Now let's work on our fire. And you'll need your yellow and your red. And the yellows, you can see there's no right or wrong on the fire. So let's do this one back here. I'm going to start with red down here. And then I'm going to pull that red up. And then I'm going to use my yellow and color in the top part. Now we know that when we mix red and yellow, we get the secondary color of yellow. And this is what we're creating here. Let's see if I can pull it down. We're going to mix the yellow and the red together. And then I can go back with my red and do my little circles and blend. See how we're blending our fire? Now here is another flame inside the fire. So I'm just going to color over it to give it some contrast. And that's how we do our fire. We'll start at the bottom and give it red. Just pull it up, the red, and then I'm going to do the yellow at the top, and I'm going to bring it down into the red. Now I'm going to go back with my red and make this dark right here so you can see how that's the contrast there. I'm making this a little bit darker. Notice that I'm doing the circular with my pencil to try to blend. Going back to my red. Just to try to give it some depth. There. Now this is how you'll do your fire. Just work with your drawing, your pencils or your crayons, whichever one you are working with. And that is it. That is the castle for chapter 10 of our island story. Here was the regular drawing, and you can see how far we've come with it. So thank you for joining me today, boys and girls. And you keep working with your castle, and you can change it. You can make different logs, different leaves. You can work with different fires. As you engage with the book, you're learning how to draw the story. Hit the like and subscribe button. See you next time, boys and girls.